In this problem, we're going to use StatCrunch to construct a correlation matrix. We will then be asked to develop a multiple regression equation. We're going to test individual regression coefficients for significance. And then we're going to develop confidence and prediction intervals. So let's start by constructing the correlation matrix. I'm going to press the table button that appears next to my data. When I scroll down, it lets me know that we can copy our table into StatCrunch. So I will click on StatCrunch, and I'll press Control-V, and here is my data. So if I press Stat, Summary Statistics, Correlation, I can select what I want. So I think I want the Y, and then I guess I want X1, 2, and 3. So all right, so there are my, my variables. I press compute, and there is my matrix. And let's compare it to what they're giving us in StatCrunch. So I think I've typed everything correctly, and you know, it's important to make sure that you round to 3 decimal places. If you make a slight rounding error, they'll just tell you it's wrong, and it can be very frustrating, so be careful to round correctly. Okay, so I'm going to press Enter, and it says, well done. So we've done the first part. Oh. So the next question asks, is there any reason to be concerned with multicollinearity? We can say that a multicollinearity exists between 2 explanatory variables if they have a high linear correlation. So for the purposes of our example, if the correlation is greater than 0.7 or less than negative 0.7, we have reason to be concerned. So I'm going to check yes. So we move on to the next part. Okay, so now we're asked to find the least squares regression equation. And it says use statistical software to determine the coefficients of the least squares regression equation. So I'm going to go back to StatCrunch. I'm going to press Stat. We want regression. It's going to be multiple linear. And our Y will be Y, and then the X variables will be X1, 2, and 3. And I think we can press compute. And here are my, my coefficients. So the Y-intercept will be this 322.335. And we're told to round that to 1 decimal place. For X1, we're going to go 4 decimal places. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for X2 and X3, we're going to go 2 decimal places. So I have my information inputted. I press check answer, and it says nice work. For part C, it says, okay, we want to do a hypothesis test, and the level of significance is 0.05% or 5% level of significance. Calculate the p-value using technology. So we can do that. It looks like our p-value is this 0.261. I press check answer. And it says fantastic. And now we're asked to state a conclusion. So we're going to reject the null hypothesis because our p-value is less than the level of significance. And we get the fantastic. Next, we're asked to calculate the p-values for the 3 explanatory variables. And again, StatCrunch has actually done that for us. They're listed right here. I check my answer, and we get the nice work. So since the p-values are greater than the level of significance, I guess none of the null hypotheses can be rejected. So we have to accept all of them. I press enter, and it says good job. Okay, so now it says remove the explanatory variable with the highest p-value, and then we're going to recalculate the regression equation. So I'm going to remove the p3, so that corresponds to my x3, and I'm going to recalculate my regression equation. So I go back to StatCrunch, I press Options, Edit, and I'm going to remove x3. So what I'll do is I'll hold Control and just click x1 and x2. And x3 I'm going to hold at 0, and I'll compute. And now I have a new regression equation. My intercept now is 327.6. And we're going to treat the last one as 0. Press enter. And we get the good job. So now it says calculate the p-values for the 2 remaining variables. Again, StatCrunch has already done that for us. Here are our p-values. And it does say around 3 decimal places. And I'll check my answer. We scroll up, it says fantastic. And then we're asked, are the slope coefficients significantly different from 0? And the answer is no, because the p-values for the explanatory variables are not less than the level of significance, meaning we cannot reject the null hypothesis, which is saying that they are 0. I check my answer, and we get the check mark. Press OK, and we continue. So it says, okay, let's remove the explanatory variable with a higher p-value. So that would be the p2. And we're going to calculate our regression equation again. So we've done this before. Just select Options, Edit. We're going to remove x2 and just keep x1. And we'll hit Compute. And now we see our p-value is below the level of significance, so that's good. And we can create our regression equation from these values. So our intercept is going to be 362.1. And we only need to transfer the x1 value, right? Because we're holding x2 and x3 at 0. And I check answer. Oops, I forgot to round. I don't know if they're going to accept this. Let's see what happens. Oh, I took it. All right, because I was really supposed to round this to 4 decimal places, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went a little too far, but they did take the answer. I press continue. It says, all right, draw the residual plots, a box plot of the residuals, and a normal probability plot. All right, so I'm going to do that in a separate video, just so this video doesn't become too long.